Hi everyone. So we talk about the middleman. And this is always this is about courtesy. So I was in the store the other day. On top of that, a different day, I was at work as well too. The reason why these two things have a common principle and it kind of is a little frustrating is mainly because I would never think about doing this. And if I did, hopefully it's because I had a bad day and I totally forgot my manners for that umpteenth amount of time. But I realistically don't ever do this because I consider it a very discourteous thing to do. So let's talk about when I was at the store the other day. I was walking in to a store and I wanted to just pretty much go in and buy something, right? Like every time anyone else goes into a store, unless you go into the store just to people watch or something. But I go into this store and there's this person with a shopping cart and they are standing right there in the middle of the entryway, probably about 7 feet away from the actual door itself, text messaging or playing with their phone for whatever reason and disrupting the flow of that particular entryway. So I had to go around this person, and this is a young person. I'm going to say roughly under the age of 30 based upon the physical appearance of this person. Now, so when I went to work, same thing happened, but this time a little bit different because this was a colleague, a person who has a professional degree, and this is a known fact because of the world I work in. They're all healthcare professionals. They all have some kind of degree. That's the only reason why they have a certain type of badge. Ultimately, this person has a professional level of education, and you would expect, hey, they don't stand right in the middle of the entryway between two sliding doors, right there dead center. And what are they doing? They're playing on their phone or whatever it is, text messaging, making a phone call. I don't care what it is, but the fact is they're standing right there in the middle of a walkway when people are trying to walk in and out without any blatant care in the world. And that's the key thing is, if you're doing it and you notice and you apologize, that's one thing, but these people were doing it where they could care less. I'm going to say this, that interferes with the flow of things. It realistically doesn't bother me too much because I realistically just don't care. A lot of people in this world do. The reason why I'm making this video is because I think that's a lack of courtesy, and ultimately, like I always say in this type of video, my parents didn't raise me that way. My parents raised me to say, hey, if I'm going to block something, well, if you're going to block other people and they get frustrated, one of these days when somebody blocks you, don't get frustrated because you've done that same thing to other people. Karma's a bitch. I'm sorry. It's like what goes around comes around. Whatever you want to call it, the fact is, if you do it to somebody and somebody does it to you, you have no right to complain. And if you do, technically that makes you a bad person. If you complain, that makes you a very inhumane person. You're a terrible person because you complained about other people doing something that you do on the constant basis. I don't do that. I hope I don't do that as well too, but I'm very mindful of the fact that if I'm walking, I walk on the side. I live in the United States of America, so when I'm walking in a direction, I typically walk on the right side of the road, on the right side, not correct side, but right side, and the opposing traffic I let go on my left, and I always make room for that particular flow, regardless of where I'm at, in a shopping aisle or driving on the freeway. I always drive on the right side because I am the slowest driver on the road most of the time. I will not go above speed limit. If you've watched one of my videos, I look at it this way. Laws are there for a reason. If you break the law, you're no different than somebody who's a criminal who breaks the law. So I won't speed because I'm not somebody who wants to break the law. If you are, that's on you. That's your conscience to worry about. But standing in the middle of the road, it's not breaking the law. It's just a lack of courtesy. maybe you should learn better or you should be a better person. But if that's also how you do your thing and you don't notice, that's a problem. That's the reason why all these issues in this world is because of these little frustrations, because people have a lack of that courtesy right there. Standing in the middle while people are right in the middle of the flow of traffic. Okay, just stand to the side, or maybe go into an area to, I mean, how important is it to immediately send a text message back or be on the phone or say, hey, if it's a phone call, say, hey, give me 1 second to get out of the way of the traffic or so, and I can have a conversation with you. Whatever it might be, it's not that complicated. And even if you say that over the phone, that lets the other person know, hey, you're raised in a way that is conducive to being a good, not necessarily a good, but a more courteous member of society. So even over the phone, that buys people brownie points as well too. In the real world, that buys everyone who notices that somebody's out of the way of traffic, trying to handle whatever business or something that has to be attended to, that gives the people who go by this person brownie points. Well, do they matter? Not really. But in the long run is if you make one less frustration for people, the overall negativity, the overall frustration is less in the world. And that's a good thing, is that people are happier in general, regardless if it's a tiny ounce of humanity. And that's the key thing, is be human, be kind to the next person, be courteous. That's how I believe people should be raised, because I was raised to be courteous. That's not how everyone believes. Some people believe that they deserve to be the first in line, so be it. That's fine if you believe to be deserve to be the first in line. Just don't block the line to focus on something else instead of what you're there to focus on. Thank you.